Hello, Centralia. I'm Shane Lothar.
And I'm Rachel Roddy.
And this is Centralia On Air. Thank you so much for joining us. Last week on the show, our very own Matt James from the Wake Up Call stopped in to talk to us about how he got started in radio, how things have changed over the years, and what the future of radio might look like. Speaking of radio, did you know there's kind of a dispute on who invented the radio? Check this out. Try to follow along here. Tesla was granted the first radio patents in 1900, resulting in Guglielmo Marconi's initial radio patents to be denied that same year. 4 years later, though, the U.S. Patent Office reversed its decision and awarded Marconi the patent for inventing the radio, even though Marconi's devices used 17 of Tesla's patents. Fast forward to 1943, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld Tesla's original patents, but the history books had already been written and recorded the name Marconi as the inventor of radio.
Wow.
Yikes.
Radio drama.
Seriously. It kind of reminds me of our own drama you and I face every time we come into the studio together.
Yeah, so intense.
Yeah. Anyways, that was last week. And this is this week.
That's right. On today's show, we have two special guests in studio with us. Cindy Hoffman and Mimi Polczynski from Kaskaskia College stopped by to talk to us about the great radiology and sonography programs offered at KC. Okay, Cindy and Mimi, thank you for being here today. And we'll start with Cindy, and you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Cindy Hoffman. I'm the Diagnostic Medical Sonography Program Coordinator at Kaskaskia College.
And I'm Mimi Polczynski. I'm the Radiology Program Director at Kaskaskia College.
All right, so how long have you guys been at KC?
Well, I've been at Kaskaskia College I just started my 18th year with the Diagnostic Medical Sonography Program. And before that, I was in a part-time role as the lab instructor for the radiology program. So in total, I've probably been with Kaskaskia College 20 years.
That's great. And you?
I'm having to do my math. 23 years I've been working there. I was the clinical coordinator for 10 years, and I've been the radiology program director for the last 13 years.
Cindy, what's all involved with the sonography program for students? Tell us more about that.
Well, the sonography program is a 3.5 semester program. It begins every fall semester. Students that are interested in that certificate program would need to have a 2-year allied health degree first, like in radiology, or in nursing, physical therapy, respiratory therapy, some sort of very much allied health program, something patient care directed. If they don't have that, we do accept bachelor students, but those bachelor students, we want them to have some type of patient care aspect, so we want them to have a CNA degree or certificate within that aspect, and that usually is just an 8-week program in order to get the CNA, and it gives them a very good beginning start for patient care.
Okay, so radiology is kind of like a prereq for...
Yes, it is, and it's a really good starting point for sonography, any of the imaging modalities beyond radiology, like CAT scan, nuke med, MRI, radiation therapy, mammography. All of those are like another level beyond a 2-year allied health degree in radiology. So radiology is a great place to start.
Sure. How about you, Mimi? What can a student expect in the radiology program?
Well, it's a specialized acceptance program, so they have to fill out a required worksheet and then go through a formal acceptance. And so they have to have prerequisite courses also, be it math, biology, and a computer course. And it's all based on their grades to be accepted into the program. They're competing against other students. But our program is an associate degree in allied health. It's a 21-month program, so 2 years. They get their associate's degree. And they can enter into the field right when they graduate. They have to take a national registry exam to pass, and then they get a state license, and then they can go work into the imaging department. Okay.
And the allied health thing, all that really is...
Well, our national agency, the American Registry of Diagnostic Medical Sonography, requires that if you take our national boards, one of their prerequisites is to either have a 2-year allied health degree or have the bachelor's degree with the sonography aspect of it.
Okay.
So it's a good lead-in to go into the national registry for that. There are different things with sonography, so I want to make sure everybody understands we are a general sonography program, so we do our general sonography in abdomen, OB, and GYN. So there are vascular sonographers and echocardiographers, so they specialize in doing heart ultrasound. So we are just general. Those are two different specialty areas that they could seek then beyond just the general sonography.
Okay.
So how many students do you usually have in each program?
Well, we cap ours at 15 students because we have just limited amount of clinical facilities, so we can't just take, 30, 40 applicants and so forth. So we start with 15 students. That's a really good number. And we have clinical sites that range from our very local hospitals, like St. Mary's here in Centralia, Good Samaritan down at Mount Vernon. But we also go into St. Louis. I go up as far north to Carl, up in Champaign. And I've even gone into Indiana. And St. Louis, I have a couple facilities over there. So we have a really good place with our clinical sites.
And we accept 30 students every fall, but we are limited also with our clinical sites. The radiology program is an accredited program, so we have to have at least a 1-to-1 ratio for student per tech. So we're limited with our clinical sites, but we have, like Cindy said, the local hospitals, but we go as far north as Decatur and as far south as Carbondale. So we have 20 different clinical sites that we can send our students to.
Oh, that's great.
I can't remember if you said this already. Do you know how long the sonography program has been going on at KC?
Yeah, actually, Mimi was there when we were developing the program and stuff. She was clinical coordinator for the X-ray program at that time. So it's been 18 years ago that the program started. A little background with that, when I was learning ultrasound, they sent me all the way to Mobile, Alabama, because that was one of the places that would train for sonography. St. Louis had a program at a community college over there, so when we got back and I started working in the field, and then whenever I had come back to do the lab component at Kaskaskia College, we were sitting there going, why do we have any sonography programs in our area? So that went in to lead us into doing a needs assessment for can we have a sonography program in our area and support it. So Kaskaskia College has been very supportive of it, with our board, with our presidents, and since then we've been here for 18 years.
Cool.
Wow.
Okay, and for radiology, we just celebrated our 50-year anniversary last year of the program being in existence. So it originally started at St. Mary's Hospital here in Centralia, and I think it started at the college in the early 80s. So it's been around at Kaskaskia College for a good 30 years.
Okay.
I think it was real interesting to note that when we were looking back at the 50 years and then also with the sonography program, I've had over 150 graduates. Mimi, how many have you had?
Oh, I forget. Was it over 1,000?
Yeah,
Wow.
I was thinking it was.
Because I went back and added each year because we keep track of that. We collect so much data for our accreditation. And we went back and we've had a lot of graduates through our programs.
It's been a great network of people that we have become to know over the years.
Cool.
Okay, so after their degree, this is kind of for you, Mimi, what can they do to further their education?
Well, that's a good question because that's one thing I love about our profession. With radiology, they can go into so many different avenues. Like Cindy said earlier, they could go into sonography, but there's also mammography, CT, MRI, nuclear medicine, radiation therapy, interventional, cardiac cath labs. They can go into education, of course. They can go on and be a sales rep for specialized equipment. It's just a wide range of areas they can go into. So that's what's so exciting with radiology. It's that initial foundation that they can just spread their wings and go into so many different modalities.
And they can add onto each.
Correct.
So they
Correct.
could have multiple.
Correct. And then that makes them a more valuable tech,
Right.
and more marketable. And so they can go and get certified in those different modalities. So how it's set up is you have to pass a national registry to become certified. So like I'm registered in radiography, CT, and mammography. Where, Cindy, what are your credentials?
Well, you can't forget our degrees that we've earned as well, too.
Right. Yes, we each have our master's degree.
So my credentials at the end of my name are MS, ED, RTR, RDMS.
Oh, wow.
So it's a mouthful.
Yeah, and Mimi's got, a few more credentials on the end of hers with her certifications that she's earned over the years as well. So the RDMS is the Registered Diagnostic Medical Sonography, and the RTR is the Registered Radiologic Technologist.
And so what's nice out of the college is we've developed courses that allow the graduates to take so they're prepared to pass those extra registries. So we offer mammography courses, CT courses online, cardiac catheterization, or the interventional radiography. So
That's really awesome.
What about you, Cindy? What kind of job opportunities can graduates expect?
As long as they're willing to think about a little bit of a travel, because your smaller hospitals, they're not going to have a large turnaround with their sonographers. But I've been receiving job postings, job opportunities. What do you think, Mimi? Once to twice a week from
Yes.
North Springfield, Carl up at Champaign,
St.
Decatur,
Louis.
St. Louis.
we just posted something for St. Mary's.
Yep. And I think Barnes, I think you just posted something for Barnes not too long ago. So right in your immediate area, it just depends. But going out to their clinicals is where they sell themselves. I tell them all the time that this is your resume when you're at clinical. You are selling yourself. You really don't even have to do an actual written resume if you perform at such high levels. Most of them have opportunities of a PRN job or a part-time job, or because they can do both x-ray and ultrasound, it leads into both aspects. They can have the x-ray tech and a sonographer to help them out on their call situations. So lots of job opportunities out there in the imaging field.
You're listening to Centralia On Air. We have Cindy Hoffman and Mimi Polczynski from Kaskaskia College in studio today. Now, my wife and I, we have a couple little girls. I've sat through some sonograms and ultrasounds. I look at the screen and I'm like, what are we looking at?
You see a bunch of gray dots, I'm
Right.
sure.
So how long does it usually take a student to be able to tell what's what on that sonogram?
Well, it's just really the repeat of everything. What I tell the students, that the sun is out there during the day. Even on today where it's a little bit of overcast and so forth, the sun is out there behind the clouds. Once you get used to what you're looking at, the clouds will dissipate and you'll be able to see that sun shining through. So if you're really good at looking at a picture that has hidden words in them,
Okay.
and pulling it, that's what once you see the letter that you've been trying to find in it, then your eyes go back to it and you're finding it a little bit quicker each time.
Okay.
So it's just getting your eyes adjusted to what it's supposed to be looking like. And you're not the only one to sit there and look at the screen. We have x-ray techs that are out there that will look at pictures and say, oh, that baby's face is so cute. And I'm like, well, that's an adult kidney that you're looking at. So it's not even close to being a baby's face. So it just takes a little while. It's just like with anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Because let me add, the human eye can only see 32 shades of gray. And normally, if we're not trained in sonography, we can see, I don't know. I don't know the number. But through sonography, their eyes get trained to see more of that grayscale.
The subtle differences, yeah. And the technology today with the digital world that we live in, I mean, the computer alone is helping to depict different shades of gray and stuff and pop out more pathologies and stuff to help us.
The 3D and the 4D ultrasounds.
Yep.
Those are crazy.
It is. And, we don't have we have the potential of getting some donated equipment that does have a 3D 4D transducer. So at this point in time, our program has a couple pieces of equipment that we use in our scan labs and so forth, but the 3D 4D transducers are very costly, and so I've never purchased anything for that because they have that out at their hospitals. But we have an opportunity with a hospital that's thinking about donating some equipment to us, and it actually has one of those transducers, so we'll be able to add that component into our scan lab session. So that's going to be a really good opportunity for the students.
Real quick, what does a 4D ultrasound get you compared to 3D?
Just a little bit more, to be honest. There's not a lot of more extra information, but you can do the live scanning then with the 4D aspect of it, to where the 3D was more of the reconstruction of that third plane. So it does add a little bit more, but they do say that with your grayscale, the normal two-dimensional imaging, you're still seeing everything that you need to see, even with the 4D. But the 4D does give you that life-like appearance and gives you that very much reality of this is a baby. We can't really use 4D, 3D in a whole lot of our general applications. Some places will use it a little bit more than others, but you are limited. Your 2D is still the dominant use out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you see an expecting mother and she finally sees the baby's face and her, I'm sure she lights up. But what are some other things that you can use for sonograms?
Well, sonography has a lot of different things that we scan, from the abdominal organs, so like the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the kidneys, the spleen, with the female reproductive organs, the uterus and the ovaries, the small parts with the thyroid, breast sonography. So a lot of imaging centers will have their sonographers there specifically for breast ultrasound. So we look a lot for pathology. That's our sole, reason behind doing ultrasound, is to, if a patient comes in with right upper quadrant pain, why? Is it a gallbladder related issue? Is it a liver issue? If it's anything to deal with the bowel or the digestive tract, it's difficult for ultrasound to be able to see those areas very well, so it needs to be more of the soft tissue organ that we are looking at. And so radiology is going to be very specific for the bones, to where ultrasound and MRI deals a lot more with the soft tissue aspect of it. So each imaging modality adds a collaborated effort between the two of them to get the best diagnosis. So sometimes, patients will say, well, I just had a CAT scan. Why do I have to have an ultrasound? Doesn't that seem to be like two of the same thing? Well, really it's not, because CAT scan isn't 100% on everything, and neither is ultrasound. So we work together to give the best diagnosis.
I know I'm probably overcomplicating this in my head. What is the difference between a sonogram and an ultrasound?
They are the same thing.
Okay.
Ultrasound is actually your physics terms to say that the sound range is above the 20,000 hertz.
Okay.
So a sonogram is the actual diagnostic study. We're using ultrasound to gain that sonogram.
Okay, that makes sense.
You're getting me to talk physics there.
I was just going to say, with radiology, that's dealing with ionizing radiation, where with sonography, they're using sound waves. So there's no ionization with sonography. So with radiology, we're creating images, and we're just blessed out at the college because we have 2 energized labs where we have phantoms or dummies, you might want to say, that the students can go in there and actually position and then take the radiographs. And we have CR right now, but we have the potential, we're working on upgrading our equipment to DR, which means it's an instant image, just like on your cell phone. When you take a picture, you get it right there. That's what DR is going to do for us. And most schools do not have that around here because, again, that's really expensive.
Yeah.
So we feel very blessed and lucky that the students have the opportunity in the future to work with both CR and DR equipment.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I've been to a lot of hospitals. Mimi and I travel to all of our clinical sites, and the X-ray lab at Kaskaskia College is top of the line. I mean, it's a very, very good program with great facilities.
Yeah, we're really blessed.
So if someone's listening right now and they want to know more about the sonography or radiology program, where would you recommend they go? What's the next step?
I know this might sound silly, but YouTube, Google, there's so much information out there. We used to require potential students to go into the hospital setting and observe to learn and see maybe if that's what they're interested in. But we're really limited to that anymore because of HIPAA violations, criminal background checks, drug screening. We have to do a lot of that before a student who's accepted into the program can go out to the hospital. So a lot of our incoming students have maybe gone through CNA, where they're certified nurse assistants, and they've had a background with that, or health occupation courses in high school. A lot of students have taken that. So they kind of are aware of what's involved with radiology and then sonography. But when a student is accepted into our program in radiology and they might think they want to go into a different modality, one of the semesters, their second year, we have our radiology students rotate through all the modalities at the hospital. So then they can see, oh, yeah, I do want to go into sonography, or, oh, yeah, CT is what I want to go into.
All right, we have Cindy Hoffman and Mimi Polczynski from Kaskaskia College in studio today. When we come back, we're going to ask Cindy and Mimi some trivia questions about sonography and ultrasound technology. You're listening to Centralia On Air. We'll be right back. Shane and Rachel here. This is Centralia On Air. We have Kaskaskia College's Cindy Hoffman and Mimi Polczynski with us today. All right, girls. We know that sonography and radiology is serious business, but we wanted to quiz you on some fun facts about these very important medical fields. So, question one, Cindy, true or false? Ultrasounds were first developed for industry, not for the medical field.
I would say that's true because in my reading and research, they used sonar during the World War II era with the submarines and to figure out how close proximity submarines were to the ships. So,
correct. You know your stuff. Yeah, that is true.
I'm sweating here.
The first ultrasound machines measured flaws in metal castings in the 1940s. The first time ultrasound was used in medicine was in 1942, a couple years later.
Yep.
Question two, this is for Mimi. Who discovered the X-ray?
Wilhelm Röntgen in 1895. He was a physicist in Germany.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Mimi definitely knows her stuff.
Okay, question 3. Another true or false? Dogs and cats can hear ultrasounds.
Yes, because there's whistles out there that humans cannot hear and that dogs can. And so elephants are also known for their infrasound.
There you go. True.
See, Cindy, you know so much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ultrasound waves are too high for humans to hear, but they are within the range of what dogs and cats can hear.
And what did you say about elephants?
Elephants are lower, like an infrasound.
Oh, okay.
So like they can hear things a lot lower levels than the human audible hearing.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Question number 4. At how many weeks can ultrasound be used to determine the baby's gender?
Ooh, that's a good question. If you took a scope right inside of the gestational sac, you can see it a lot earlier than you can with ultrasound. Okay. And it really depends on your patient. There's a lot of parameters there. Mm-hmm. The earliest that I've seen, and little boys are so much easier than little girls to identify. I actually saw a little boy at 14 weeks, and that was pushing it. Oh, so wow. That was really early. So I like
average.
I like it to be. My personal favorite is 22 weeks because it's just so much more enjoyable because the baby's starting to develop the little fat layers and stuff and the pudgy cheeks, and you can see everything really well. But most of the time, by 18, 19 weeks is when we feel fairly comfortable to identify the sex of the baby.
That's what I had too, 18 to 20.
Yep.
You got it. Any recent stories of getting it horribly wrong? Like you heard it was something the whole time, and then baby comes?
Well, now you just jinxed me. I'm unaware of myself being incorrect, so now you did really just jinx me because I had to say that on air. But, there are cases out there and stuff, none that I've been personally involved with. Hopefully at some point the ultrasounds are being done more frequently during the pregnancy duration and so forth, so I'm hoping at some point in time it is caught. But there are cases where ambiguous genitalia, to where you're not sure if it's a girl or boy and so forth, and there's do the genetic testing and so forth. So, but none that I've been involved with.
Fingers crossed. Question 5, Mimi, the X in X-ray stands for?
The unknown factor, because when Wilhelm discovered the X-rays, he saw this glow on this plate in the corner of his lab, and he didn't know what it was. So he named it X for the unknown factor.
You are correct. I like that. It's sounds like a Marvel movie or something.
All right, question 6. Ultrasounds have limited use for looking at the brain because they are not good at penetrating what?
The bone.
You got it.
Yes.
Yay. That's why we have X-ray.
And that's
There
why
we
we
go.
have CT and MRI.
There
Perfect.
we go.
Okay, last one. Speaking of that, as you know, ultrasound exams do not involve the use of radiation. Which of these other medical imaging procedures does not use radiation? CT scan, PET scan, MRI, or X-ray?
That would be MRI.
That's right. MRI uses radio waves in a magnetic field, right?
Mm-hmm. It does. Which totally blows me away. I'd have to sit through the physics on that one to understand
and
that
I'm not
concept.
good with MRI, but it aligns the hydrogen atoms in your body
Okay.
to create the image.
Well, look at you ladies. Got all of them right.
I'm learning
All right.
something.
I know. Okay, Cindy and Mimi, thank you so much for being here today and for playing along. We really enjoyed it and hope you guys come back.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Stick around. We'll be right back. You're listening to Centralia on Air.
Shane and Rachel here. You're listening to Centralia on Air. Rachel, how you been? Been good? Been real good, huh? You went on vacation recently, right?
Yeah.
How was that? Where'd you go?
I went to North Carolina and then with my...
Hold on. Stop. I'm going to stop you right there.
Why?
We don't have time for that right now.
Well, I want to tell my story.
No, we don't have time. You know why?
Why?
Because it's time for the top 5.
Ooh.
So one of us is celebrating their birthday today. Now, I'm not going to say who, but I can tell you it's not the person who just had her birthday a few weeks ago, if you know what I mean.
That's right. Happy birthday, Shane.
Oh, thank you.
This isn't just any birthday, right?
No, it's a special one. It's one of the big ones. There's when you turn 1, which to me has always kind of been more of a celebration for the parents, right? Congratulations on keeping this thing alive for an entire year.
Yes.
You did it. And then there's 13. That's big, right? You're a full-blown teenager, even though you've probably been acting like it for a while already. And then there is 19, your last year as a teenager. And then 20, you are officially no longer a teen. And 21, that's big for obvious reasons.
Woohoo.
And then from there, they've all pretty much felt the same to me. I don't know, to the point where I have pretty consistently forgotten how old I am when someone asks.
I agree.
I just don't think about it, because there's just kind of, they just kind of blend together, right? It's not like when you're a little kid and everybody's asking you how old you are all the time. Oh, hi, little girl, and how old are you? I'm 5. I see that a lot.
Show them how old you are.
I'm this many. Yeah, it's like ingrained into little kids' heads. They have to know how old they are. They're not smart if they can't hold up the fingers.
Right.
But not this year. Not today. Today, I can officially say I am no longer a 20-something. I am 30 years old. Life begins today.
That's right. Turning 30 is an accomplishment. There are so many great things. So in no particular order, here are the top 5 best things about turning 30. Number 1, people take you more seriously. Not only will you have some experience under your belt, but hopefully you won't be seen as the office 20-something anymore.
Lame.
Yeah.
That's right. That leaves just you as the office 20-something, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, wear it proudly.
I guess.
It doesn't last. Number 2, if you're single, dating starts to get more serious. Dating starts to get more serious. As we get older, people tend to start looking for the one, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Which hopefully means you're less likely to be ghosted or in the friend zone.
Ooh, scary stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, number 3. You're probably much wiser and smarter than you were in your 20s. What do you think?
Hopefully, probably. You've worked some crappy jobs over the years, been through some rough breakups, seen some truly cringeworthy embarrassments. But all that is behind you now. Why? Because you know better. You're 30. Shane and Rachel here. You're listening to Centralia On Air. We're giving you our top 5 best things about turning dirty 30. Okay, number 4. For me personally, it means I got to grow up in the glorious decade known as the 90s. Britney Spears, boy bands, alt-rock, The Sims, MSN Messenger, Dunkaroos, Tamagotchis, Nintendo 64, Goosebumps, Warheads, Pogs, Sock'em Boppers.
Okay, we both had awesome childhoods. Before we give you our number 5 pick, here are some honorable mentions. No more peer pressure.
You finally figured out what kind of clothes look good on you.
You're closer to your parents, since you finally understand what a pain in the butt you were.
All right, so last but not least, our number 5 pick for best things about turning 30. You've still got 10 years until you turn 40.
Okay, that's our top 5 this week. You're listening to Centralia On Air with Shane and Rachel. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the community calendar. So stick around. This is Centralia On Air. Welcome back. This is Centralia On Air with Shane and Rachel. Here's a look at your community calendar. The annual Breeze Lions Chicken Dinner on Sunday, March 4th at the Breeze American Legion from 11 to 6. $10 for adults and $8 for kids. Tickets are available from any Breeze Lions Club member, and all proceeds benefit sight and hearing impaired.
The Winning Edge Relay for Life team will host a Relay for Life trivia night at the Centralia Historical Museum on Saturday, March 10th. Doors open at 6 p.m. and competition begins at 7. The cost is $10 per person, maximum of 8 persons per table. Advanced registration is recommended. Call Elaine at the Winning Edge, 533-2393. All proceeds to benefit the American Cancer Society.
St. Bernard's Parish in Albers is hosting a breakfast on Sunday, March 11th from 8 to 11:30 a.m. They will have biscuits and gravy, pancakes, eggs, and so much more. There will be a basket raffle, and carryouts are available.
A free screening clinic for children from birth to 5 years of age is being offered by the Central City School District on Thursday, March 15th from 9 a.m. until noon. Please call Central City School at 532-9521 to schedule an appointment for these screenings.
Centralia Junior High School is having a band fundraiser on Saturday, March 17th from 11 to 3 at the school. There will be taco bar, laser tag, bounce house, cakewalk, and more.
And for your local upcoming blood drives, on Thursday, March 1st at Centralia High School from 8:15 to 1:45. Friday, March 2nd, Salem High School, 3 to 7. Wednesday, March 7th, Dix Community Center. Friday, March 16th, Bryan Manor from 1 to 5 p.m. And Tuesday, March 27th, Carlisle Visitor Center from 12 to 6.
And that's a look at your community calendar on X95 in the Big 1210. If you have an event you would like to share with us, you can email wiley1210@gmail.com. Or for more information and other events, you can check out our website at x95radio.com.
Well, that's it for this week. Enjoy yourselves, everybody. Have a great week. Think about something you've always wanted to do but have never done, and get out there and do it. If you like what you hear, come back every Sunday at 11 on X95 in the Big 1210 and 98.7 FM. You can also find past shows on YouTube at X95 Radio. She's Rachel Roddy.
And he's Shane Lothar.
And this was Centralia On Air.